But let's start with the ongoing diplomacy surrounding the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russian President Vladimir Putin has held a high-level meeting with members of Russia's top leadership, government officials and the presidential administration to finalize preparations for Friday's Alaska summit with US President Donald Trump. This, according to a TASS report. Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov said planning has entered its final phase, with teams working intensively to resolve technical matters, including visas, after the meeting was announced just 5 days ago. He stressed that the political agenda remains the central focus. During the session, Putin said the United States is making a sincere effort to find a solution to the Ukraine crisis and that peace would be strengthened if Moscow and Washington can reach agreements on strategic offensive arms control. The European Commission welcomed President Trump's remark that the US would participate in Ukraine security guarantees, though it said the details of that role are for the US administration to clarify. Well, joining us to discuss this latest update that we bring you, of course, ahead of this meeting set for Alaska between President Trump and President Putin. Tomorrow in Alaska, Matti Zweig, a geopolitical expert, joining us live from Israel. Matti, thank you ever so much for taking the time to speak with us. Comments here from Putin. It all sounds very positive, more concern from the European perspective, at least the Western allied European perspective. Do you think this is just rhetoric from Putin and his top team?
Well, thank you for having me again. I think this time it cannot be only rhetoric. And I tell you why, because Vladimir Putin has been hearing already 6 months or more Donald Trump, and he say, okay, I would like to listen, and I would like in some moment to go to a ceasefire, and but he continued and continued because he wanted this to be under his terms. After everything that happened in the last 6 months, and all the rhetoric that has been thrown on this theme, and you know what happened in these 6 months, the Russians have recovered many territories that they wanted to have as leverage to start even thinking about a ceasefire. And they have conquered several territories that they are key for further movements if they are going to fail in this ceasefire. And now maybe this is going to be also a tool to start thinking what is better for himself. I'm talking about Vladimir Putin. And let's look also what was going on from the Trump side. He failed in going further in a peace agreement or finishing what is going on between Israel and Gaza, and also failed in this. But in the meanwhile, he was doing other movements like India, Pakistan, Cambodia, Thailand, and lately also, very famous, the agreement the historical agreement between Azerbaijan and Armenia. And maybe Putin is feeling that the things are moving under his feet. So maybe in all this context, he's going to give more weight to a meeting with Donald Trump, and maybe giving some concessions, some swapping between prisoners and bodies, and also maybe a kind of ceasefire that let's see what is the quantity of time that is going to hold, because everything can fail, of course, but things are going to be different now. That's what I think.
Yes, absolutely, Matti. As we come in, we are playing some of the latest visuals that we have received from this meeting that has taken place with Putin and his top officials. Of course, it's not just the Russia-Ukraine conflict that is set to be discussed, Matti, at this meeting between President Trump and President Putin. Do you think Putin could be using the war potentially as a make-weight in terms of trying to secure financial deals that boost Russia with the US, but also potentially arms? We heard Putin address that directly. Is he referring to nuclear weapons?
Well, as we have discussed in the past, nuclear weapons and movements and talkings about nuclear weapons have been happening all the time. If we are talking about the movement of nuclear capabilities from Russia to Belarus, it means to pass nuclear bombs from one country to the other. and until the avoiding all kinds of agreements that have been in the past, like new equipments in nuclear capabilities and talks that had been between the big powers in the past, and they stopped in the last years. All of this is on the table. I don't think that also they stopped, because under the table they have continued to talk in a way that they say, look, if we are going to really meet and the public is going to see this, so we have to bring something positive on the table to talk about all themes. And of course, Putin is going to use this opportunity also to ask from Donald Trump to lift the sanctions against him. Not that they are so effective, but some of them, they are mining their economic capabilities. And now with the price of the oil and everything, it's all a package together that is going to try to use for the benefit of himself and Russia.
Absolutely, Matti. Thank you ever so much.